as a company, how do you think about like going after bigger partners versus small partners? And is there a way to sort of make the process automated or efficient?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll give you a direct example of kind of how we did it at Guideline, because I worked on the beginning of the accountant partnership work as well before I was able to hire and scale a team. So for me, again, as a core PMM, it starts with researching your end customer and segmenting them into these buckets. And of course, the larger firms, right, your large accounting firms, they're not going to want to go in and make a deal right away. They have a lot of other things that they have going on. But sole props and smaller accountants, you have to, and there's quite a few of them, you have to see where they hang out. And what's interesting about accountants specifically is they actually hang out within payroll ecosystems. And Intuit, Gusto, ADP, all of those payroll providers, they have built actual portals for accountants. They've built products for accountants because accountants are their target audience as well. So that is an idea like where you already have a partnership, and then you can expand that partnership into the rest of the ecosystem of your partner and start to figure out how to do things with accountants. So one really efficient way to launch that we launched Guideline was to do a webinar for accountants that was part of Intuit. So they run these, I don't remember how frequently they run these now, but they run almost monthly webinars for accountants, telling them about all the new features and things that are happening within QuickBooks, and Guideline was featured there. And we did a whole webinar to talk about new product, when you need to think about retirement deductions, when's a good time, how does it fit into the accounting ecosystem. And accountants were actually thrilled because what we found out is they don't really know much about retirement. So it starts with that element of education. Then you look at, where they hang out, and they have portals within your payroll providers. So then you start to create pop-ups and get into that experience within your partner. So that's one way to do it. The other way, of course, is, so it's very efficient and effective, right? Because you get right into their workflow. And to me, that's ideal. The other ways to do that is show up at their conferences. We used to go to the Gusto Next conference and Guideline. I remember that was like my first conference post-COVID, and actually accountants love to party. They love to dance, as it turns out. The job may be a lot of numbers, but they like to have fun afterwards. So showing up at those conferences, having those conversations, showing off your product really works. But to me, the number one efficient and effective way is to show up in their workflow, because you're right there when they're primed to do their work. The other way is then, where else are they getting their education? Something else that we did was we would sponsor various classes provided by accreditation institutions. And we would create both content within those accreditation institutions that is focused on retirement, so accountants could learn, as well as sponsor the content that they were already signed up to do as part of their accreditation, because they have to continuously reacquire knowledge as rules and things change. So zooming out of the accountant land, you just think about, again, where's your customer hanging out? Who are those partners and influencers that they make decisions with in regards to your product? And then how can you get to them? Where do they hang out? And what's the most efficient way to get to them? Ideally, it's a non-intrusive way to jump into their workflow that they're doing already. So that technology bit and the partnership. And then after that, how do you get into either their continued education or publications that they're reading or conferences that they go to?